everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand on tour, and today's location is the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And wow, you can see it behind me, one unbelievable stadium it is. I mean, I've seen some incredible stadiums in my time. The MetLife was one that stood out to me in New Jersey, but this is, I would say, the best stadium that I've ever seen in my entire life. And with Manchester United looking to get a new stadium, if I was Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if I was the committee, I'd definitely be looking at a stadium like this. I mean, just look at the screen, look at the infrastructure. It's absolutely unbelievable, massively modern, and of course you've got to keep some culture in Old Trafford, of course you do, but this is absolutely incredible, and I do believe that we have to move on with the times. But today's preview for the Manchester United versus Arsenal game is brought to you in the SoFi Stadium, and I can't wait to get into it. So Manchester United will be playing Arsenal, we know about this, and it's going to be a really interesting game. Of course, each team has players out missing to the Euros and to Copa America, but there is still some strong names that pop up there, and there's a lot of names to watch for Manchester United as well. We know that we have a new signing on tour, Lenny Yoro, that we can't wait to see again. He's played one game for Manchester United so far and had a very good game in that game, but you can't just judge a player off one performance. You've got to look in more detail, and I think going against Arsenal, who's obviously a Premier League side, granted they're going to have some players missing, I think will be a really good test for him. I mean, Jesus is probably going to play up front. Havertz is on his way. I mean, it's going to be a test, so I can't wait to see that. Also, you've got many other players as well, many youth players that we're going to talk about, and Arsenal as well have some players that could maybe cause us a few problems, and it'd be really great to see how each team match up against each other. I mean, straight away you get in the comments, who do you see winning this game? I can already hear Arsenal fans making excuses. You know, they don't have certain players that they'd like to have as part of the team, but Manchester United are in the same boat as well. We're missing Kobbie Mainoo, we're missing Luke Shaw, we're missing Lisandro Martinez, we're missing Alejandro Garnacho, we're missing Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot. We're missing important players, so it's going to be quite an even matchup, I gather, and I can't wait to see how the teams vie against each other. And what pre-season is for as well is it's to decipher, you know, who can break into the first team next season? Who can put a cat amongst the pigeons and say, you know what, I should be starting for Manchester United, or at least I should be getting more game time. I remember this time last year, you know, the pre-season tour, and there was a couple of players that stood out. I think the big one that stood out was obviously Kobbie Mainoo. He hadn't broke through into the first team yet. Ten Hag brought him through in pre-season, clearly had a plan for him, built him up, unfortunately got injured in that game against Real Madrid, which set him back, because I think he would have started the season if he didn't get injured in that game, but came back from it like he was never gone, and came in and just infiltrated that Manchester United team, infiltrated the midfield, and for me now, he's one of, if not our most important player. Incredible young talent. He's actually out here in LA as well. He's currently holidaying, don't know if he'll link up with the team at all. I don't think he will, because he needs to take his break, because he obviously got to the final with England. But he was someone that took that pre-season last summer and ended up becoming a star of the team, and he's going to be a really important player for us next season as well. But also last season there was Jadon Sancho, who played the false nine role. Everyone was saying how good he was, everyone was saying, you know what, he's going to go on and have a really good season, and then he just never kicked on, and we had the loan deal at Borussia Dortmund, and there was the fallout with the manager. He's back now, he's reintegrated into the first team squad. We've just been at Erik ten Hag's press conference at UCLA, and he was talking how he thinks he's a very good player. Manchester United need good players, said the same about Anthony as well. So you know, you can have a good pre-season, but then you don't follow it up with the season. So it's about getting the balance, and you've got to make your claim in the pre-season, but you've also got to follow it up in the season as well. But you've got to take the first step, as Erik ten Hag would say, the first step, and the first step is getting into pre-season and showing what it's all about, getting your head down, training hard. And I think it's an important season for a lot of players. So who is going to be the next Kobbie Mainoo? Obviously every player has their own individual path, individual journey. Kobbie Mainoo for me is probably the best young talent that's come out of Carrington in a very long time. I think he's levels above what we've seen in a long time, and you know, we've had some brilliant talents come through. You know, we've had Garnacho, we've had Rashford, there's been other talents as well come through that couldn't go on a list. That's what Manchester United's about. But Kobbie Mainoo for me is, I generally think he's a generational talent. So who is going to be the next one? And everyone follows a different path, but for me, Collier is absolutely someone that I'd be looking at. Obviously we brought him in from Brighton. Erik ten Hag has took a massive liking to him, and I think you can see already the fact that in the first pre-season game he captained the team that came on after half time, because they always switch the teams up half and half. It'll be interesting to see if he still does that in the Arsenal game, because, you know, the more you get into pre-season, you give the first team the majority of the minutes and it keeps building it up. But the fact he given the captain's armband for that, and then actually in the next game, because he had the best performance, I thought, along with the keeper Vitek, he was good as well. In the next game, he actually started him amongst the first team. He started in that midfield with Mason Mount and Casemiro. So he obviously likes him a lot, and there's a lot of rumours that he's going to be integrated into the first team squad. We saw with Kobbie Mainoo, arm around the shoulder at the Carabao Cup, Kobbie Mainoo scoring the winner in the FA Cup final the year later. It was, honestly, it was like poetry. This season, FA Cup final when we won it, Ten Hag has the arm around the shoulder to Collier. So I think he's definitely one to watch and is going to take the next step up. I know a lot of people are looking at Harry Armas. At the moment, Sam Murray seems to be ahead of him a little bit, and Sam Murray actually had a really good performance, I thought, in the second half against Rangers. So he could be one that wasn't necessarily at the forefront of everyone's minds, but someone that we can definitely watch. Or, you know, as well, players will be looking to secure a good loan spell. Have a good pre-season, get a good loan spell. You know, a good loan spell can do so much for you. Mason Mount, when he was at Chelsea, went on loan to Derby, and that kind of created him as a player. He also went on loan to Utrecht, was it, in the Dutch league? And some players don't just go straight into the first team. They need to have that loan as well. So I think it's important that players show themselves to have a good pre-season to kind of get clubs interested in bringing him on loan. And then from a loan, you either get a sale, you get a move away, or you can show the manager, look at me. Look at what I'm doing at this club, and look at what I can do in the future. So pre-season is important for a lot of things. Obviously, it's going to be amazing for the American fan base to come here and see Manchester United. This is, you know, the closest thing they'll get to a Premier League game unless they travel over to the UK. Who knows? There might be some Premier League games played in America in the future, the way that things are moving. You never know, that could potentially happen. So it'll be great for them to see that. Arsenal versus Manchester United, red versus red. And I mean, again, this time last year, Manchester United, I think, beat Arsenal and with a better team. But then Arsenal went on to have a much better Premier League campaign than us. So you've got to kind of take everything with a pinch of salt, but also analyse as well. One that I'm really looking forward to see is Amad Diallo, because for me, this is a player that could have an explosive season. He really could take the door off its hinges this season. Everyone's seen the talent. Everyone's seen what he can do, what he can deliver. I think what was a real career-changing moment for him was that goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup, which we never would have won the FA Cup if it wasn't for that goal. Everything's important, everything contributes. And people started to wake up to the idea that Amad Diallo, you know, he's got a lot of talent. Fans were pushing for him to start before that, pushing for him to get more minutes before that. Ten Hag, very, very, very slow with easing him into the team. Some would say too slow, but took his opportunity against Rangers. And it'd be really interesting to see, does he get that starting spot again tomorrow with Rashford back? Because obviously Sancho and Amad started against Rangers because Rashford was injured. Rashford's back now. Rashford's going to start on the left. Will he start Sancho or will he start Amad? Anthony's back as well. So that's going to be interesting. He has to start Amad, in my opinion. I think he has to. And for me, I think Amad, if he continues the way he is, should be starting on the right for Manchester United at the start of the season. And that really does kind of put that competition in place. Garnacho and Rashford competing, Sancho and Anthony competing. They're competing to be, you know, the player off the bench then even. So you kind of build that depth within the wing spots. Ethan Wheatley, another player I'm really looking forward to see. Of course, Erik ten Hag has Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee at his disposal, but Ethan Wheatley did an amazing job in the academy last season, and it's a player that's also on the verge of knocking into the first team, so that'll be interesting to see as well. And just overall, I want to see, obviously I'm not expecting all the bells and whistles. I'm not expecting, you know, instantly for Manchester United to be playing the best football we've ever seen, but I am expecting to see a style of play. I am expecting to see how we're going to play going into next season, because, you know, we've got this game, the first game of the pre-season tour over in America. We've obviously had the games in Norway and in Scotland, but you've got 2 games under your belt now. We've got more players back. Rasmus Højlund's back, you know, Christian Eriksen's back. There's more players coming back. You've got a decent squad at your disposal. Let's see what we can do. I get you don't have Martinez, I get you don't have the Garnacho, I get you don't have Shaw, I get we're still missing some players, Kobbie Mainoo, big one, but I really want to see how we're going to play going into next season. I really do want to see that, because, you know, you've got 3 games and then you're onto the Community Shield, and again, you know, people say it's only the Community Shield. Erik ten Hag spoke, it's another trophy that he'll want to win. Manchester City are the best team in the world, if not one of the best teams in the world. I would still say the best team in the world, even though Real Madrid obviously won that Champions League. I think City, on paper, are probably a better team. So it's not going to be easy to go and beat Manchester City to win that Community Shield, but United will want to do that. They'll want to go and do that again. So I really want to see how they're going to set up, how they're going to play. I want to see flowing football, and we are actually against a decent opposition. So you really kind of get to see where we're at in this stage of the pre-season. But anything from Erik ten Hag going into tomorrow's game? We've obviously just been at the press conference. Some key points to pick up on. Erik ten Hag wants more signings. That is obvious. He is a man of few words, and he knows how to answer the question without actually giving a specific answer. Obviously just looking out for himself in terms of the media, and I guess he doesn't want anything twisted or anything being turned into a story it's not. I understand that. I get how media training works, but you could see the indication that he wanted more signings. I mean, I asked the question about the left backs. Again tomorrow, we're going to see Sam Murray or Harry Armas play at left back. That is what Manchester United will see. I assume it will be Sam Murray because he's been getting the nod. On a realistic note, is Sam Murray or Harry Armas going to be starting Premier League games for Manchester United next season? They're not going to be. Unless something drastic happens, and I hope they can be at that level, but they're not going to be. So them playing tomorrow, really, it's not what we're going to be able to play next season. So I asked the question, Luke Shaw, massive injury last season, has had a lot of injuries in the past. Tyrone Malacia was out for over a year with an injury. Do we need to prioritise a left back? And Erik ten Hag said, we need enforcements in every position. We need to build the strongest squad possible, so we have options in every position, and so we're occupied in every position. Another question that was put to him is, how many signings do you want? And he said there's not a specific number of signings, but we need reinforcements and we need the strongest squad possible. So Erik ten Hag still talking about getting more signings in. He also got asked about a centre-back. Is there another centre-back entering Manchester United? And he says, at the moment we're good in terms of the numbers, but he says we've got until August 31st, so let's see what happens. Again, he'll want delay, of course he will. He was open to Harry Maguire leaving last summer. There's talks of Victor Lindelof that are open to selling him. And, these are decent players, but are they players that are going to take United up to the next level? No. So he'll want delay in, absolutely no question about it. So definitely wanting more signings, but also backing his current players as well. Backed Mason Mount, backed Marcus Rashford. Mason Mount's another one. The longer he can stay fit for, because he suffered with so many injuries, I'll be interested to see what position he's going to be able to take up next year for United, and had 2 good games so far in pre-season, so he's another one to watch. So all in all, very, very excited to see Manchester United play in this iconic stadium and see what we can do. I'm predicting 2-1 to Manchester United. I am predicting 2-1 to Manchester United. I've also heard Calafiori, their signing, is actually in LA at the moment and doing his medical, so who knows if we might see him. Arsenal have a decent-ish team, but I'd say Manchester United is a little bit stronger, a little bit further on, but it's going to be a good competition. Get in the comments down below, what is your prediction? What are you predicting from this game? How would you like to see Manchester United set up? Who should be in the starting 11? Who do you want to see? And let me know all of your opinions down in the comments. I'm going 2-1 Manchester United. Let's see if we can get it right. Hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and wow, yeah, this stadium is absolutely incredible. So we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.